Presidents and kings, princes and prime ministers gathered today for the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. Thousands of mourners lined the streets while millions around the world watched the scenes from London. In his remarks, the Archbishop of Canterbury remembered the Queen's long commitment to serving others.
People of loving service are rare in any walk of life. Leaders of loving service are still rarer. But in all cases, those who serve will be loved and remembered when those who cling to power and privileges are long forgotten.
It was the first state funeral in Britain since 1965 when Winston Churchill passed away. And we go now to Windsor Alexandra Gardens, where we find Philip Crowther, affiliate reporter for the Associated Press. Philip, great to see you again. A historic day today with many remarkable scenes, including that of King Charles III leaving a handwritten note on the casket of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. That said, what were some of the other moments that really stood out?
Well, so many really. Maybe the one that the royal family will remember more than any other moment happened just a relatively short while ago behind closed doors with no cameras present. Finally, a private moment, a more intimate moment for the King, for the heir to the throne, the Prince of Wales also, and the rest of the royal family, with the actual burial of Queen Elizabeth II that happened in the St. George's Chapel inside of Windsor Castle that you can see illuminated here at night, just around an hour outside of London. That is probably the moment that the royal family will remember as the most intimate one, but there were so many others, public moments of mourning, public ceremonies that the royal family took part in. The service in Westminster Abbey, of course, that reminded us that the Queen was very much a woman of faith, but also those corteges, many of which we saw today, passing through central London, but also going up what's called the Long Walk here outside of Windsor Castle, with tens of thousands of people at least here in Windsor, together with central London, amassed on the sides of the road for everybody to be able to get at least a glimpse of that hearse here outside of Windsor Castle that was carrying Queen Elizabeth II's coffin to her final resting place here in Windsor Castle.
And that certainly was a sight to behold with those huge crowds of people. With so many people in attendance, including world leaders, I'm curious, what was security like?
Well, quite unprecedented, most definitely. As you mentioned, the first state funeral in the United States since that of, in the United Kingdom rather, since former Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill. But this was most likely a bigger security operation with so many heads of state in attendance, so many members of royal families as well, and so many soldiers taking part in these processions, 6,000 altogether. And of course, add to that so many police officers necessary to keep things as orderly as they seemed on camera. This was an incredibly meticulously organized set of events that we saw here today during the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. We've seen police officers here in Windsor, for example, from the Greater Manchester area, in central London from Wales. They've come in from all parts of Britain to make sure this was as smooth an event as was planned for such a long time. Of course, this is an event that hasn't been planned over the last 11 days. It's been years, over a decade at least, in the making.
And Philip, not much time left, but as we mark this end of an era and a new one begins, what happens next for King Charles III and this new chapter in the monarchy?
Well, maybe finally a moment of respite for King Charles III. He has had to mourn in public during 11 days now, all while carrying out the ceremonial duties of a king, which in this case meant traveling to all of the capitals of the nations that make up the United Kingdom. He, of course, spent time in Scotland, with the Queen having died 11 days ago, at the Balmoral estate in the Highlands. He's had a lot of work to do while mourning the death of his mother. Today, again, those many processions he took part in central London, up the Long Walk here in Windsor as well. There is nothing particularly notable on his schedule for the next few days, but what you can expect to see is a first trip abroad, of course, visiting some of those countries, member countries of the Commonwealth, who were represented here by their leaders. He will want to shore up support, if you will, for the monarchy in those Commonwealth countries. That might be one of the most important things for King Charles to do, not necessarily over the next few weeks, but over the next few years, as he gets used to this job that he has been learning to do from his mother for such a long time.
Philip Crowther with the Associated Press, thank you so much.